Alright, welcome back, Wolfpack Verlis here, and this is going to be a showdown battle, mostly just showing off how great Hippowdon is, because I did my guide on Hippowdon recently, and I even called it an OP Pokemon, and I really didn't understand how OP it is. Even though I said it's OP, I don't think I gave Hippowdon enough justice. So I am using my team right now that I have been showing for a couple of weeks now, where it's pretty much just like Heatran with the Mungus, and then that sets up Sableye, Mega Sableye, and Clefable. And it's just a very nasty team, but there are some problems to it. Charizard X kind of gives it problems. Talonflame is manageable because of the way that my Clefable's set up, but overall it's still a pretty tricky Pokemon. So first, this is the first time we're going to see Hippowdon in the battle. So I'm really confident in Hippowdon. I even switch it into an Azumarill because I get the Burn on, so Burn does have the attack of the Azumarill. But I know I can come in on Azumarill, I can set up. Hippowdon's really good for me because it does bring Stealth Rocks. And look at that right there. That even though it's burned, it's still like a 5-hit KO Pokemon on my Hippowdon, which means it would be a 3-hit KO if it wasn't burned, so it can't even 2-shot me. And that's a Waterfall Azumarill. That's a lot of super effective damage that Hippowdon just eats up really well. So I do have to sacrifice off my Sableye. But what I learned, like, I've been using Hippowdon more than just battle, I think this is one of the best battles to show it, is that with my Impish Nature, full defensive, Rocky Helmet, crazy invested Hippowdon, it's also like Slack Off, Earthquake, and Whirlwind, I finally get all the setup I need because my team does really well behind stealth, or with the Stealth Rocks on the opposing team, because I force a lot of switches with my setup. Amoonguss, even though if I have rocks on my field or something, I can switch in Amoonguss, switch them out, and I can just kind of dance around. Also, with all these Steel-type Pokemon on my team, there's just not a lot of threats from rocks. So I go and I get another burn down from the Lava Plume. I bring in Hippowdon, and Hippowdon just doesn't take damage, so this is where I get my Whirlwind start going. Because I Whirlwind them, they take Sandstorm damage, they take the Rocks damage. I bring in Amoonguss because Rotom Wash, going to force him out, going to get some extra Rocks damage. And this team is really, really good when it comes down to it. So the only thing I've realized about Hippowdon being a problem here is that Hippowdon, when it brings the sand, it makes it to where Moonlight only heals for 25% instead of 50% on Clefable. So I do have to find workarounds to that, like really just play into the Excadrill or the Heatran a lot more and just not bring in Clefable. But at the same time, that means I could throw away some really good Clefable-like times, because if I bring in Hippowdon, and Hippowdon makes them switch into a Pokemon that Clefable can deal with easily, it does make things a bit trickier. But overall, I think it just shows, like, you know, this Pokemon has a lot of tankiness, has a lot of utility. I've already gone through like a couple of phases with it by just going through with the Whirlwind, getting damage across. That Stealth Rocks is proving invaluable, and pretty much the rest of this battle becomes playing around the Asleep Skarmory with Amoonguss. Like, this is one of the reasons, like, this battle is also a good reason to show why I don't like playing on Pokemon Showdown too much. Because all it is this. All it is the opponent just using U-turn and switching, even though he's probably in a very losing situation at this point. A lot of his Pokemon are status, or at least the Tyranitar is. I have an answer to pretty much everything on his team at this point. Because, like, look, all it is I go into Amoonguss, I try to throw down a Giga Drain onto his Rotom, he switches in Skarmory, or, you know, Volt switches, whatever. Volt switches in Skarmory, Skarmory takes a little bit of damage, but because I'm a poison type, I can't really do anything to it. So I just have to kind of, like, heal up with a Synthesis, and then switch out whenever he's going to... Oh, also Synthesis, yeah. Moonlight and Synthesis, they heal less under the Sandstorm. So that is where the synergy kind of breaks, but Hippowdon's such a filthy Pokemon that I need to play around that synergy, and then it works out. So he goes into Tyranitar. I have Slack Off, so I heal all the way up. Tyranitar's burned, so I can hit him with an Earthquake. And his Earthquake does nothing to me, and then I just Whirlwind or something because Beedrill. So yeah, Hippowdon is like a very, very solid Pokemon. That's an X-Scissor from a Beedrill, and it only does 37%, and then he takes Rocky Helmet damage. So I think I should have really kind of pushed for Hippowdon a little more in my guide. Even though I said it's OP, I didn't realize that when you actually apply this strategy, it's just nasty. So I finally get in, and now this is where I just Whirlwind. I just keep on Whirlwinding because I have the ultimate advantage. Nothing's really scaring me off right now, and the only thing I can do to this Skarmory is hope that he takes some Rocks damage, and then he taunts me. So now it's even more of a stall aspect, because now I have to go into Excadrill, I have to go into Amoonguss, I have to go into something to break all of the taunt and all of his switching and stuff. But overall, you know, with the leftovers, with the sand, and with him using Brave Bird, like, it's just so weird how how long this battle drags on. Man, that's again why I really don't like playing Pokemon Showdown too much. Like, a lot of people ask for Pokemon Showdown battles. I can't really do live battles because this was like a 50-something turn game, and it took forever because the opponent was like trying to take a minute to 2 minutes for every move. And it just doesn't make for good commentary. Now, I don't like doing post commentary like this as much unless I'm really breaking down something. And this for a breakdown is just fine. So, you know, it just shows like I'm playing around the Skarmory. Skarmory's being annoying because it's like the one thing that kind of does well against my team, and I'm just waiting for him to slip up. So now I'm starting to go into Heatran. I need to get Lava Plumes down. Fortunately, Rotom, it does take a lot of damage from the Lava Plume, and I can just play around that. I go in and out of Amoonguss. That way I can heal up with Amoonguss enough to come in with the Synthesis after the regeneration. So yeah, he does the Volt Switch. He goes into Beedrill. Beedrill dies to Rocks, which is kind of like a free Synthesis turn, but you know, finally, like, yeah, it just shows, like, a lot of the things that my team needed, such as Stealth Rocks, such as just really any kind of physical walling, extra Rocky Helmet damage, it does very well with Hippowdon. And since Hippowdon isn't Garchomp, it doesn't have that 4x weakness to Ice, it can tank up just regular super effective physical hits. Amoonguss is more in my special tank, and then it just plays around until the opponent starts losing all of his Pokemon, Clefable comes in, and then I should win pretty easily. So I did enjoy this battle outside of, like, once I finally got broken through his stall, like once Rotom gets too low to where it can't do a lot of things safely, once Skarmory finally goes down, it's an easy victory from there. But it showed like Hippowdon, you know, he was able to stay in for several turns and just whirlwind things out. He then slacks off, and he can get a lot of work done that way. So yeah, I bait the Skarmory with my super low health Heatran. I kind of don't care about Heatran at this point because now Excadrill just gets the sweep because I come in, I Earthquake. This is why I run Mold Breaker. Even though when I made this team, I didn't design it with sand. So Mold Breaker Excadrill, I just Earthquake through the double Levitate right here, and that's a victory. So there's just a lot of really interesting things about this battle, and it just shows like a lot. I can't talk about the strength of Hippowdon enough because I feel I undersold it, even though I called it OP. That's how well this thing's been doing for me. This is just one battle. I've also been doing a lot of other battles with Hippowdon, and it really rarely lets me down because I have an answer for something else on my team that really makes it work out. So that's really it right there. Hope you guys enjoyed this video. Like I said, if you are looking for more Showdown content, probably not going to find it too often because the battles, while they are neat, they are frustrating to go through. Laddering isn't really that pleasant at all, ever. So it's kind of like, oh, this is a cool battle that shows exactly what I wanted to show. I'll throw that out as a battle, but that's pretty much all you're going to get for Showdown from me. So if you guys enjoyed this video, and I hope you all have a nice day. Thank you for watching.